assume that you have some viewership, and so when he lands in Florida like today, folks in all those states saw what he was doing. Significantly larger.
That I had the viewership. It kind of hurt my feelings.
Significantly larger than the 10,000 or so. I don't know what the number was in Florida, but let's call it the 10,000 people that were there. So he has a capacity of taking advantage of your insatiable thirst for the people he brings to your viewership. That wherever he goes, he's going to do well.
Real quickly, Chris Christie canceled on his own his appearance to help the ticket in.
I have no idea. What I find interesting is the Democratic governor of Virginia, after the FBI announced he might be under investigation, has not been showing up with Hillary, and certainly she is hiding Huma Abedin under the rug, especially since we found 650,000 emails in Huma's computer. And I think, I'm not positive, but I think Huma's immunity might be in jeopardy with the FBI. So those are the folks that you really wanted to see with Hillary, but I guess she's hiding them as well.
On the Christie thing, if you'll indulge me, Governor, did you recommend that he not come?
I have no idea. I'm not involved with I'm not involved in any of the planning process up here.
All right. I think you're being very modest here, and I think you have more sway on these things than you're letting on.
I doubt it. I'm an old, cranky, grumpy governor.
Okay. Well, thank you for your references on the Lion King moment that we had today. Always a pleasure, Governor. Again, the signature event there. That's all you need to know. Donald Trump has a thing with babies. They rarely cry, and they become the stuff of cinematic political history. More after this. All right, let's get the read on the Sunshine State. Mike Emanuel is there in Pembroke Pines covering the Clinton campaign. Depending on the polls, they're tighter than tight. But what is it like in that neck of the woods?
Neil, no question about it. A lot of emphasis put on Florida with 29 electoral votes, the biggest battleground state out there. And so Hillary Clinton is heading here in a short time. Essentially, the Clinton campaign is trying to cover a whole lot of ground between the Democratic nominee and her surrogates. And so Clinton and her running mate, Tim Kaine, are both doing events here in the Sunshine State today, separate events. Again, a critical battleground for both campaigns. Former rival Senator Bernie Sanders is hitting two states today, Iowa and Colorado. Former President Bill Clinton and daughter Chelsea are campaigning in the Tar Heel State, North Carolina. And then there's Vice President Joe Biden hitting the campaign trail once again in Pennsylvania. Tonight, more star power will be helping Hillary Clinton. Katy Perry, the performer who has sang for her, appeared for her at campaign events, also sang at the Democratic National Convention, will do a get out the vote type event in Philadelphia. Last night it was Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce doing a concert event for Clinton in Cleveland. They had a large, predominantly African-American audience and talked about wanting their daughter to grow up in a country with a woman president, a sign of a country with no limitations. We expect Hillary Clinton here in a short time. Neil?
All right, Michael, thank you very, very much. Also want to show you what's going on in some of these polls beneath the polls. A new Fox poll that shows 82% of African-American voters are supporting Hillary Clinton. But Donald Trump is making a very fervent pitch for those voters. This is from Tampa a few minutes ago.
Blacks for Trump. Thank you, fellas. That's so great. Thank you. That is great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, Trump advisor for African-American outreach, Brunel Donald Che in Chicago. Hope I pronounced that correctly. I think last time I butchered it, Brunel, but very good to have you.
It's great to be here. God bless you and God bless America. It's Brunel Donald Che.
All right. Oh, I did get it right. So, Brunel, let me ask you.
Did.
The rap against Republicans is they make futile attempts to get African-American voters, and they never budge beyond 3 to 5%. Yet in some state polls, again, some, nationally it's a different story, Donald Trump is getting appreciably more than that. Nothing approaching Hillary Clinton. But when all is said and done, what do you think the African-American vote will look like?
I'm I believe that the African-American vote will at least look, I think, 16% to 25%.
Really?
Interestingly, and yes, I do. I mean, put it like this. Donald Trump is saying, and he said this in North Carolina in his new deal to African-Americans, the contracts with African-Americans, he said, look, I'm not going to entertain you, but what I will do is put $100 billion into the inner cities in the net for over an 8-year period, and then I'm also going to tack on school choice so that all Americans, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Arab, will have a shot at the American dream of having a great education. And so that's what's important to black voters. You can't eat Jay-Z. You cannot put Trina and all these other people in your baby's bottle to feed them. But with the jobs and economics and infrastructure that Donald Trump is saying that he's going to put into the inner city, you can take that to the bank. That's what's important. $100 billion in the inner cities over 8 years in school choice.
You know, Brunel, the president says that African Americans who vote for him are forgetting his own legacy, the president's legacy. I want you to react to this.
There was a time when systematically denying black folks the right to vote, that too was considered normal. It wasn't that long ago. So the idea that you would give your vote away, that you would sit there and not even take the 15 minutes to walk across the street and vote. Everybody sit down and be quiet for a second. You've got an older gentleman who is supporting his candidate. He's not doing nothing. You don't have to worry about him. You should. This is what I mean about folks not being focused.
All right, kind of mixing apples and oranges there. The gist of it, though, and I apologize for adding the other stuff, Brunel, was that he says go vote. That and African Americans in particular who aren't showing out in the numbers that they did for him 4 years ago and certainly 8 years prior, they're only hurting themselves. You say what?
I would say this, that African Americans need to get out of their emotions. The president is supporting Hillary Clinton, a person who has the FBI crawling all over her. She has at least 2 to 3 open criminal investigations with the FBI. Now, I wish the president would stand up for Pookie and Shantae and black people and Hispanics when the Department of Justice is breathing down our doors and when it's in our cities and when it's in our homes. So my thing is this, you've got to think about what they're going to say, anything to get your vote. That's what the Democratic Party does. They come in, they shuck and jive, they dance, they put on Emmy-winning performances, and then they don't do anything in the community.
But Brunel,
Donald Trump is saying $100 billion to inner cities.
But Brunel, one of the things I'm hearing in the president's message to African Americans, not only that they could be wasting their vote by not voting, it's kind of a double negative there, but that you're really wasting it if you go for Trump. So how do you, when you go back to African Americans, explain to them, well, on this, the president's wrong? What do you say?
What I would say is this. I challenge my African Americans and Latino Americans, go into your inner cities. If you really want to know what the president has done in the last 4 to 8 years for inner city blacks and Hispanics, go into your inner cities. Look your fellow Americans in the eyes who are hopeless and hurting and crying and feel left behind. If you believe your fellow American deserves to live like that another 4 to 8 years under Hillary Clinton, who is under federal investigation, then you vote for Hillary. But if you believe that your fellow American deserves the right to the American dream, they deserve the right to that $100 billion over the next 8 years, they deserve the right to school choice, they deserve the right to be treated better than second-class citizens in their own country, get out of your emotions. Vote for your fellow American to have jobs and better education and a bite at the American dream. Don't fall for the Emmy-winning and Oscar performances. Go out there and vote for your fellow American to live a good, great life, like the president has worked hard for illegal aliens and refugees to live. We want a president that puts Americans first, not illegal aliens, not refugees. We want a president who's going to put our military first, our economy first, our NAFTA deal, schools first. We want a president that's going to fix the infrastructure of our country. And we all know from our souls that Hillary can't do that, especially given the fact that she's got those FBI investigations all over her. She is unfit. She needs to step down. We need a president in office who's a doer and a builder, and that is Donald J. Trump.
Holy cow. One of the things that Donald Trump says, and he shortens up the argument a little bit when he reaches to African Americans and says, what the hell have you got to lose?
Yes.
Are people ever offended by that, or do they just say, hey, that makes sense?
Let me tell you something. That 25% of African Americans that are living in abject poverty aren't offended. They are going to go out. If you were signed up 8 years ago and 4 years ago to vote Democrat under Obama, take that Democratic vote that did nothing for you and put it in a bank for Donald Trump for $100 billion. Over 8 years, to put it into the man who took $1 million from his father and turned it into $8 billion. Put that vote into a candidate that has not been in politics 30 years making broken promises like Hillary Clinton. Put it into the political outsider, Donald J. Trump. If he doesn't do what he's supposed to do in the next 4 years, then we vote him out. But let's give him a chance. Don't fall for the Oscar-winning performances being put on. You can't eat that. But the jobs and the money and the investment in communities that Donald Trump wants to put in our communities, we can eat that and we can feed our children with it.
Holy Toledo. Brunel, remind me not to argue with you in the future.
Hey, it's the truth.
All right, Brunel,
we all know
great
from our
seeing you.
souls that Hillary's not going to do anything. We know it.
Thank you very, very much. We will have more.
Thank you.
This.
God bless you.
Very good to have you, Antonio.
Thank you for having me, Neil.
They're minimizing. Thank you. They're minimizing the impact of guys like you. You're for Donald Trump. Does that hurt you with your Hollywood jet set buddies?
I haven't really paid attention to that anymore. I think I'm so excited about Tuesday. We're going to win. We're going to get our country back on Tuesday, and we're very excited. The American people are fed up with what's going on, and I've been campaigning for Donald Trump for about a year now. So this is about time we get our nation back.
What got you involved? I mean, you could argue that in your profession, something like that, or going out on a limb for a Republican, let alone a controversial one like Donald Trump, might hurt your career. Obviously, it hasn't. You're doing quite well. But explain.
Yes, sir. I mean, listen, this is more important than me, than my business, than my career. This is about our country. And, what I've seen in the last 8 years and what's been going on with Hillary is disgraceful. And I think, it's about time we step up. We have a leader who is going to love our nation, who does love our nation, and has got a great prospect for the future of this country.
When you look back to your friends in Italy and everywhere around the globe, they're all worried about Trump. How do you calm them down?
Well, actually, they're very excited. My family and my friends in Italy are very excited that we're going to get a president who loves this country. They're very excited about Trump. There's something really, it's a big thrill to have somebody like that run for office. He's not a politician. He's an honest man. He tells you what's up. He tells you to your face, and he's ready to fight. And that's what we need.
Do you, if Hillary Clinton wins, what's your worry?
Listen, this country's going to go right into the ashes. It's going to be over. The country that we love, it's going to be over, and we don't want that. Hillary's not going to win. There's a lot of people who have never voted, who are voting right now, and they're very excited about what's going on.
We'll see.
So we'll see in a few days, and I think he's going to win, and I know it in my heart he will.
Antonio, thank you very, very much. Very good having you.
Thanks, Neil.
A very quick thing for you
My
folks
pleasure.
at home, and this is controversial, but I want you, if you still love Fox News, by all means, put it on, DVR it. But I'm switching over now to Fox Business Network for the next 2 hours. Best of both worlds could be with a coast-to-coast going on now very shortly on FBN. You still get FNC if you just DVR FNC. It's the flip tomorrow when I'm when I'm back in FNC and doing FBN. Comprende? All right, I'm going to see you in minutes. Do as I said right now.